job seekers, we will produce job providers. Isn't it? That will be the transformation of the higher education. Higher education must generate job providers and not only job seekers. We need job seekers. They will be there in any case. After all, only 10% are going to become entrepreneur or 15%. But that 15% must be consciously developed. So first is project portal. Second is that the students must be encouraged to develop business plans during the third year or second year or whichever year they wish to, and must be given leave of absence if they wish to drop out, with the provision that they can join back if they want to. So if you are in second year and your proposal gets a good investment, drop out, walk out of the NIT, run your business, come back when you want to. You know, in US and Europe, you will find people doing MSc, BSc, PhD at 50 years, 30 years, 40 years. Life is a continuing education. In our institute, a suggestion which we made several years ago has been accepted this year. You must have read in the Economic Times that any student who wants to become an entrepreneur will get at par placement facility if his or her enterprise doesn't work well. So you can get a job not only in the current year, but also after 2 years, 3 years. Which means there is no insecurity that what will happen to me if I fail. We are ensuring a job in any case. All right? It took us how many years? More than 3 decades, 4 decades it took us to come to this decision. But I'm sure NIT could offer the same facility, and other higher institutions should offer the same facility, that wherever the in-campus placement exists, at par placement facility to the institutions, to the students who take out and go out into entrepreneurship. So I'm strongly suggesting that we encourage entrepreneurship, and which includes dropping out or walking out of the course. How do we become more inclusive? You have an industry assignment, isn't it? Which year you have industry assignment? Second year? Third year? Huh? End of second year. And also in third year? No. That's optional. Third year is optional. Let me propose, and I discussed with Professor Gangadharan and Professor Nanda today morning that, and yesterday Professor Udupa was there and Professor Umesh was there. Why couldn't rural assignment with an innovator be equivalent to industry assignment? Why should everybody go and work in an industry where you may or may not learn much? I don't know. I'm not questioning the need for becoming more useful to industry, but I'm saying industry employs, less than 10% people. 90% people are employed in the unorganized sector. We want our unorganized sector also to become efficient and competitive, because that's where the maximum employment is provided. If employment is not generated in our economy, our society will become fragmented, as Dr. Bhat rightly mentioned. He mentioned very nice statement he made. He said, fragmented interests generate a fragmented vision. And I think that was a beautiful statement. It is true. If the interests are fragmented, the vision is bound to be fragmented. So how do we make a vision which is more holistic, which is more cohesive? And the cohesiveness will come when students could also go for their summer to work with the unorganized sector. NIF will be very happy to work with you and ensure that the reports are properly evaluated, and they go and work with, let's say, with with any of the innovators who came yesterday, and improve the technologies. Make it dematerialized. One of the ways in future will be, how do you reduce the content of material in a technology, in a product, and how do you increase the content of knowledge in it? So dematerialization is a way of life. Sustainable lifestyle, sustainable economy depends upon dematerialization. Go and work with him. And with that innovator, yes. Yeah. And try to reduce the content, improve the efficiency, do some ergonomics, and find out solution. Let me conclude by posing 3 or 4 challenges. Millions of women in this country carry water on their head. Is that right? Does it give any satisfaction to us that we produce one of the highest number of engineers in the world, and they can't find a contraption which a lady can use such that the head doesn't get burdened by the load every day? And same thing applies to the coolies on the railway station who carry your weight or carry your luggage on their heads. I'm sure it is not beyond the technological excellence of our country that people who carry burden on their head or back their life can be made easier. If you can't provide them a better job, at least reduce the burden that they're carrying. Last is, there are a large number of institutions, there are a large number of schools, there are a large number of educational colleges. Please remember that when you will become grandparent, and I'm talking of my 100-year project, when you become grandparent, your grandchildren will ask you, what kind of society you inherited and what kind of society you left with us. I saw enormous amount of plastic being used in the Engineer 2007. Enormous amount of plastic. Isn't it true? I just saw it now, I saw it all the day. I, in a subtle way, said, I will not take water in your plastic cup. And your colleagues were very happy, very helpful. They brought a glass and gave me the juice or whatever I wanted. But please try to think of a country, try to think of a society that you want to leave behind. You are being given wonderful education. And if you don't take leadership and initiative in making sure that the education of our children in the school is outstanding, in the environment is outstanding, how will your grandchildren be able to thank you? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anil. He speaks with his usual passion on things which he likes most, not necessarily about funding of higher education. But extremely important points. I'm afraid that most of my colleagues in the panel have to leave early. The first one who has to leave is Dr. Sonde. He has to leave in exactly 5 minutes from here. So I would request a question which the audience would like to ask, directed to Dr. Sonde preferably. Otherwise, I will have to request him to give some concluding remarks after giving his thoughts so he can leave and catch his flight. Any question from the audience? A quick question. If you'll recall, Dr. Sonde had said that engineering is a dying breed. The spirit of deep inquiry is not seen as much as needed. And according to him, funding is a non-issue. In fact, more funding is required. Any query that, yeah, please. Yes.
Now the IITs, 50% of people who get into IITs are basically from Ramaya or Kota or one of those residential coaching centers. I have asked my friends who come from Andhra. They tell me that they are beaten up, literally, to study. Now, how can such a person have any sort of innovation left in them? So what I would like to see is some change in the entrance format so that you get people who are interested in studying and not forced by their parents or not lured by the job prospects to study. I would like to see that change.
I think Professor Phatak is more qualified to answer that question. But I don't think you should too much talk about IIT or non-IIT. I'm not saying that any grapes or business and all that kind of IIT, IIMs and all that, because India has got enough potential. I have seen in a rural sector, village sector, you have met some people, I believe, yesterday. The creativity is not the purview of few institutions or few intelligent people. I mean, let me first make that particular statement. It's unfortunate that the urban population that we have come through, we consider that the whole intelligence remains only in some of the metropolitan and some of these elite institutions. Please, this is completely wrong. Take your statistics probability. If you take an IQ curve, it is proven by various strategies that 3% of the population will have an above IQ level. Okay, that is very considered acceptable scientific fact. So 3% in India would mean how many? 3% in India would mean how many? 3.5 crore people are having above intelligence. Where are they? Where are we counting them? They are all in various. When I go to a vegetarian vendor and ask him, give me ½ kilo, quarter kilo tomato and something, 200 grams, I take at least 2 minutes to make that mathematics. He does it like this and tells me 15 rupees 45 paisa. Where does that mathematics come from? So let us understand this. I make this statement again and again. We stop comparing. The first thing that you take a oath not to compare yourself with anybody else. You are a special human being. You are designed as a special human being in this world. You have got your own existence, which is highly spiritual.